it's none of their business.
That's the better way of doing it, guys. You know what? Tell people to go pound sand. It's not your responsibility. Go and vote for yours. It's the same thing with this vaccine. If someone comes up to you, and I don't know if you agree with this, Dr. Fleming, but if someone comes up to me one day and says, "Did you take your vaccine?" Or "We won't let you." Did you take your vaccine? Oh, you did? Okay, good. Then you don't need me to take mine. You have it. You are protected. Right? Wouldn't that be the case? If someone has their vaccine, why do they care if you got yours? You're still getting it. We know that. Everybody keeps thinking, well, once I get the vaccine, I don't get the COVID. You're still getting it. But the idea that you'd force a vaccine on somebody can they force it on us? They forced us to mask. Can they force us to all vaccinate?
I think if it's a public health issue and the people don't know any better, and they don't have the intelligent information to respond to it, which is part of what I'm trying to do here, is to get this out to people.
Absolutely.
Then I would, the attorney in me would argue yes.
Wow, and that's scary.
I would argue that. I would argue that case if I had to, because attorneys do hypotheticals, right? That's what they live for.
Yeah.
I think. And which is, can I win the argument? It's not whether you're right or wrong. It's can you win the argument, which is kind of why that's my dumbed down degree. Because physics is like a pure science. Sorry for the rest of them. I know you're good scientists. And medicine is, people die. And law is, it's just whatever they want it to be and who can argue it best. And the person who gets to argue it best is the one who's on top in the system. So the judges get whatever they want, whether it's right or not. And whoever gets close enough to them usually gets to win, which is, the difference between reality and fantasy. I think the argument would be if you could demonstrate it's a public health issue, but see, by explaining to people, I'm doing the Galileo approach, and I think we've gone through this before, which is Galileo got put under house arrest, not because he said the earth went around the sun.
But he said for them to use their mind, to use their own
But he looked at the people and he said, look, this is what you need to know. You need to look at this. You need to think about the Earth's rotation. You need to look at the moon. You need to look at the stars. You need to look at the planets you can see, like Mars and Venus. You can get that up there near the moon at the right times. You can see the sun. If you think about it, you too will be able to figure out that the Earth goes around the sun. So as soon as the people listen to what I'm saying, as soon as the doctors pay attention to the inflammothrombotic part and using FMTBDM to measure, the deaths can stop. Once people understand the issue about the vaccine, that it doesn't prevent the infection, number one. Number two, it doesn't really save time because it's the same amount of time, roughly 4 days, between either antibodies kicking in from a vaccine response or your innate T cell cytotoxic response at 4 days. It's the same time span. Once people get that, then the response to that can be, I don't need a vaccine. My body is going to do the same. It's going to take the same amount of time whether you give me a vaccine or not. This is not like tetanus, where if I'm not covered with the antibodies to begin with, I'm going to stop breathing because of the toxin.
Interesting.
It's a completely different scenario. You're not preventing me from getting COVID-19. So, and you're not saving me time. You're just giving me another period of a bad experience by making me go through the reaction to your darn vaccine, as opposed to just going through the reaction by getting the actual virus. So now I get to go through it twice. And plus every other time I get